Okay, let's get down to cases here. Let's talk about the foods that people should eat and should not eat. Bearing in mind that we start off with some kind of diagnosis. You've got a yeast infection.
Right.
Now, you're on.
Okay. Let me go back to the Bible. I was a clinical faculty member of the University of Tennessee, and one of the residents came in one day. Well, we call this the Bible, and he said, "Dr. Crook, I see where you get your ideas for your diets." He said, "They're right here in the Bible." And I said, "Oh?" He said, "Yeah." And he read me from the first chapter of Daniel. Daniel and his friends were eating the king's rich food and drinking the wine, and Daniel went to the chief steward and said, "Test your servants for 10 days and give us vegetables and water." And at the end of 10 days, they looked healthier and stronger than those eating the king's rich food. And in the 20th verse, it said, "In all matters requiring wisdom and understanding, they were 10 times better than all the magicians and sorcerers in the king's court." We'll come up to the American Cancer Society. They say now we ought to eat more vegetables, more broccoli, more cabbage, more Brussels sprouts. I don't like Brussels sprouts, but those things, and carrots. So again, vegetables, particularly if they're grown on good soil, not close to a superhighway where you get lead fallout.
You can't tell that by looking in the supermarket.
Right, are the basic thing in your diet. Now, you can have some meats, especially fish and chicken, especially your northern meats. Now, you know, somehow the southern catfish don't have those good fatty acids like the northern fish. This is the reason the Eskimos didn't have heart disease, because you have what we call the omega-3 fatty acids. So again, you get meats, you can have eggs. Now, the main thing you avoid is junk food. Now, we're brainwashed, and our children are brainwashed to eat XYZ cereal or PDQ cereal, and some of those things have got 50% sugar, some of them 58%. On the Today Show, Art Ulene showed a box of cereal, 14 ounces, that had 80 teaspoons of sugar in it.
Should be sold in the confectionery department instead of the food department.
And so you avoid that kind of food. Now, again, getting back to the yeast, there are many good nutrients in a yeasty food and in brewer's yeast and mushrooms, but some of the people with the candida problem are allergic. Fruits are good food, but some people cannot tolerate them early, and some people are actually allergic to specific foods like wheat. So this diet is a good, nutritious diet, and the main thing you avoid is sugar and junk food.
You high on fat?
No, we're not high on fat. I think we all know, and this is just this week, the American Heart Association at their meeting are cutting their fats down very much like Mr. Pritikin did. So vegetables have relatively little fat, and they have some of the vegetable oils in them. So we eat a good diet, not a fad diet, not a quack diet, not a diet that makes you malnourished, etc.
This is one of the reasons I mentioned the new book.
Right.
You were going to say, Carol?
I was just thinking when you were talking about the box cereals, do you remember Sharaskin's study? There was a study taking a group of rats and they fed them the boxed cereal. Another group of rats, they fed the box. And the rats that ate the box, of course, lived longer. The cardboard lived longer than the rats that ate the cereal. I tell all my kids that.
Throw away the cereal and eat the box.
Harry, flying into Toronto from Chicago, I picked up Business Week magazine, and a commentator said in effect, if we are going to keep up with the Japanese and the other Asians, we've got to quit fighting between this fast food company and that fast food company. And he said, they're advertising 46 different kinds of cereals. He said, use our ingenuity to produce goods and products. So I think that the food industry is putting out too much junk.
But now, there are good cereals.
Yes, there's some good ones, and some of them, Kellogg is making one now, Nutri-Grain, but you can get very good whole grains at your health food store.
Well, whole grains, you know, rolled oats and cream of wheat and stuff like that.
Yeah, but you can get brown rice for about 50 cents a pound. You can get rice, barley, oats without a whole lot of sugar in them, and they're much cheaper.
Okay, I was a little worried that, how about drinks? How about liquids?
What do you say to this, Carolyn?
Well, we all know that fruit juices, once they're put in a can, once they're sliced up, they start growing mold on them right away. And they're pretty sugary, they're pretty strong. If any person should really be diluting their fruit juices. Fruit juices, certain herb teas, 2% low-fat milks.
You would eliminate that?
Eliminate which?
The 2% low-fat
No,
milk.
I'm saying these are
The ones
drinks people can have.
Okay.
But again, maybe a challenge test with milk. Off it for a week or two, and then challenge yourself, because you may find that you're not digesting milk.
Carolyn, you didn't mention water.
Oh, and then we come to water, but that's a big problem up here.
All right. Do you believe in
When you drink water, you're getting a whole lot of fringe benefits,
Yeah.
quote, quote, fringe benefits.
Right.
Then we'd get into water filters and all that, and we
What
don't
do you
have
think
time.
about that?
Well, I use a filtered water and take
I do too.
a multiple mineral to get my minerals.
Right.
There's too much chlorine, fluorides, all the rest.
I'll tell you, one of the ways you can really astound one of these teenagers working at McDonald's, when you drive through, as I do occasionally with my grandchildren, they say, "What do you want to drink?" You say, "Water." They say, "What?"
What's that?
We keep some on the premises in the event of fire. How about alcohol?
That, for some people, it's too hard on their nervous system. It stimulates their adrenals, and for other people, they're allergic to the grain that the alcohol is made from, and for other people, it encourages yeast.
And alcohol is made from yeast.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
that's right. Yes, there's the studies that show that yeast produce an acetaldehyde that then produces ethanol. So people who have an overgrowth of yeast can be intoxicating themselves.
But I want to get back to the fact that maybe we should be looking more closely at the root cause, not the yeast imbalance, which is a result of something else.
Right.
Now, are you likely to throw the baby out with the bathwater here? Are we going after the symptom too much and not at the basic? I mean, what do you say
We
about
try to do it all together. We try to explain to people that there is an imbalance, there's an overgrowth of yeast, and we'll try to starve it and knock it out, but at the same time boost up their system.
Yeah. You cook cereals, don't you?
I use a crock pot where I put in grains overnight, 1 part grain, 2 parts water, plug it in the morning, I have a beautiful cooked cereal. Simple.
Oh, you use the old-fashioned ones that my mother used to.
Millet and buckwheat and
Yeah.
oats and...
It needs to soak overnight, unless
Yeah.
it's been refined to
Yeah,
within an
yeah.
inch of its life.
Yeah, so it's perfect.
Cook it anymore.
Yeah.
How about cooking vegetables and fruit? Bill?
Well, I think if you steam your vegetables, I think we know that if you cook your vegetables less, if you steam your vegetables and don't cook the fire out of them, why they're a lot healthier. And as far as your overnight crock pot, I fix my own breakfast. I dump some brown rice in the pot, put it on low heat, run shave. When I come back, the water's boiled down. Then I chop up some almonds and put some bananas in it and have a darn good breakfast. This is a Pritikin breakfast. And it is quick. We don't have to eat a lot of bacon and a lot of, sugary cereals to have a good breakfast.
I just wonder, where do you get your calcium from?
Well, you get calcium from your greens. Where do the reindeer up here in Canada get their calcium from? Also from sardines. I eat sardines once a week, sardines and sardine oil. And I personally take some calcium supplements.
Okay.